Hello everyone, welcome to Expert View. In today's video, we'll be doing some technical analysis as weekly review of what we are going to be expecting by next week. This is something I normally do every weekend after my trading section for the week, after reviewing my past mistakes, my past performance, and my emotions and how I traded last week. After those reflections and everything, I go back to my weekly reviews and what I expect for the next week. In the course of this video, I will actually dish out some bonus some bonus indicator that help me navigate the week and also guides me to what I'll be looking out for by next week. Now we have some few pairs here. We have CHF JPY. I'll be looking into a CHF, GBP JPY, gold. If you're a gold lover, stick around. And also I'll be looking into GBP/USD. Now let's dive into it. Now for the first thing I look out for in every week, in every new week is first of all I go to my weekly time frame. If it's a new week, I start my analysis from the weekly time frame because we are in a new week. Now looking into US CHF JPY, you can see that we are all bullish and this is an uptrend. This is a weekly time frame, by the way. If you can look up, you can see that this is a weekly time frame. We're in a weekly time frame, and the weekly time frame is giving us nothing but a weekly bias and a bullish bias. And this is what I do in my weekly time frame. I just look out for my directional bias and my key target areas. Now for this trade now, all I can say is that we are in an uptrend and my next target will be this higher high. You can see that price have been creating lower highs, lower low, lower highs, higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Now price has created a higher high, higher low. This is a higher high. Now this is a higher low. The next move now will be your higher high. So this is just a simple price action movement that shows you the directional bias of whatever the week wants to do. Now we are in our discount zone, which is here. The price has actually tapped into our discount zone from the weekly time frame, and definitely price is coming from this zone, and we are targeting this high. We are targeting this high. This is what our weekly outlook will be looking at. So this is just what I do in my weekly time frame. Look out for where price is actually coming from and where it is going to next. Now let's go over to the daily time frame to sort out our key levels. Now here, marking out my structure and break of structures. This is a break of structure here. Now we have another break of structure, another break of structure. So after this break of structure, we can also spot that price sold massively to the origin of that break of structure, and the origin is somewhere around here. Once price taps into your origin, this shows you that we are ready to sell. And also looking at this price action, you can see that price took liquidity off this low here, this primary draw on liquidity. And once primary draw on liquidity is taken, my next target will be my secondary draw on liquidity, which will be here. This will be my first target, and my second target will be above this high, which is your buy side liquidity. Now, seeing that we are in an uptrend, which is of number one confluence, the number two confluence is we are in a discount zone using your FIB tool from swing low to swing high. You can see our price is currently below your 50% FIB level, and we are in a discount zone. Now price has swept liquidity of this low and closed above it. This just shows you that we are no longer in a downtrend. So what you have to do is go down to the lower time frames of 4 hours time frame to see what price has for us. Now, in a journey to take out this high, this buy side liquidity, we can see a substructure that's formed by this area. You can spot out your break of structure. Price gave us a break of structure around this zone. Break of structure around this zone. Now, the origin of this break of structure is somewhere around there. While marking your origin, you have to note that that origin should not be mitigated. It should be fresh. Now, from this place, I should have marked out this zone, but you see that this zone is mitigated already. Candle by this week here, we've seen some candle mitigation. It has mitigated these orders, eh? Yeah. So this, what we do outside, this is the only zone that we have here, unmitigated zone that we have here. So this is why I mark out this my area as my point of interest where I expect price to tap into and start to buy to the upside. Now, this week I'll be waiting for price to tap into this zone on CHF JPY, tap into this zone, my SL below this area here. While I wait for price to buy to this buy side liquidity, taking out this secondary draw liquidity first from the daily time frame. Remember what I said in the daily time frame, and then my buy side liquidity. So this is my outlook on CHF JPY. Now let's go into another pair, AED CHF. AED CHF actually gave me I actually traded ADCHF last week and I think I went out from here. I exited the trading. Now let's look out for this week, what we are expecting this week. From my weekly outlook, I can see break of structures. ADC, you can say CHF is kind of bearish from the weekly time frame, but for price to sell, it has to come to a key level. Understand? Now you can see some break of structures around this zone, and now we have another break of structure around this zone. Origin of this break of structure is actually around this area, somewhere around this area, and you can see that price hasn't gotten into this area. These are just fractal move that will actually come to mitigate this zone before we start seeing some sells in the market now. But we can't actually wait for before you can wait for price to come into this zone and sell. It will take time, so you have to look for trading opportunities to buy into this zone, then wait for price confirmations and other things to sell to this zone. Wait for price to we are going to buy into this zone, then sell. So for now, this week I'll be looking out for buys in AUDCHF because we are still on a journey to meet this supply key level here, this weekly key level here. Now, in the previous week, we closed bullish on AUDCHF. This is actually my weekly range for next week. This is actually my weekly range for next week. Now, going over today, this is we've marked out our daily target, so everything we'll be looking out for will be buys. Now, going to the daily time frame, we spot our structural movements. You can see price creating higher highs, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Now we are in a journey to create another higher high. Understand? So note that price have not taken out this buy side liquidity first. These are just my target. This is just how I trade and analyze. Just watch closely. Seeing that price has not taken out this buy side liquidity and it will eventually come to take it out. But what will happen first, or where will it start, or where will price get to before it starts to take out, it starts moving to take out this price? So either price opens, takes out this price and keep buying, or we see price by next week, we see price open and by next week, or we see price open, sell into the zone, then continue to buy. There are two ways about it. There are two ways about this. Either we see price open, buy, or we see price open, then sell to buy. So that's just my own view of the market. But we only react to what the market shows us. For now, we don't know what price is actually going to do till we see our price movements. Now let's go over to the 4 hours time frame. In the 4 hours time frame, I can't see much. All I can see is for my previous, this is actually where I took this trade by around last week. This is actually where I took this trade. This is a break of structure. Origin of that break of structure is around this zone. Price came, gave me confirmation, swept liquidity off this low, and took that liquidity and closed above. Now gave us a change in state of delivery or your CISD or your market structure shifts. Then this is my entry. When I scale down to the 1 hour time frame to book my entry. My 1 hour time frame. You see, this is a change in state of delivery here. We have your market structure shifts around this zone. Now it tap into this origin here. So this is where I took my trade as of last week. And actually, in my other accounts, spread actually took me out. It was painful though, but move to the next. You see break of structure. See price, keep breaking structures to the upside. Seal a line to take out this high. Take out this high here. Now, what next we'll be looking at for is we've seen another break of structure around this zone. Price broke structure here, and the origin of this break of structure is around this zone. So this will be what I'll be expecting by next week. If price will actually want to sell, whereas I'm expecting price to sell into the zone to buy, given that we have a kind of point of interest, or a substructure point of interest that price will actually buy from. Now, if price sells into this zone, I'll be very, very comfortable to join this move to the upside. So this is all we have for AUDCHF. Let's look into some other pairs though. Let's look into some other pairs. Now, as I promised, I'll be dropping some bonus tips on what's helped me, an indicator that helps me navigate or tells me what I'll be looking out for in the next week. Now, going to this zone here, I actually look at to my performance. This is what I call performance. It shows me how the strength of that pair for the week or for the past week. You can see we have 1 week, they are all greenish here. That is, it shows you that the strength of this pair is it's very, very strong. That's bullish momentum is very, very strong. So once you've seen that here is all green, look out for buys in the market. If it's all red, look out for sells in the market. It will help you. It's JPY, and going to the weekly time frame, you can see that going to the weekly time frame, let's see what the market has for us. We have last week we had this supply. All I can say is this supply here. We expected price to sell from this supply, but it reacted and invalidated it. Now price has retested that supply zone. This is my number one confidence that GPJPY is bullish. By the way, we are going to see some bullish moves in GPJPY by next week. So this is a supply that has turned to a demand. Now, this is just a mitigation block or something like a breaker block. This is actually a valid key level that you should be expecting price from to bounce off from. Now, price came into that zone and we are seeing some significant buys in the market. Now, let's go over to the daily time frame to see what it has for us. Now, coming to the daily time frame, you can spot out that you can see that price is reacting from a valid key level here, a valid demand zone, and we can see your break of structure. We have our break of structure, price reacting from this zone, and we can see price sweeping liquidity off this low and closing above it. Since price closed above it, we haven't seen any candle coming below it or closing below it. Now, this is another confluence. Remember, we have your supply zone that broke and now it's turning to a demand. That is a break and retest. Now, the second confluence is your break of structure and your demand zone. your demand key level, and also this sweep of liquidity around this zone, which price we actually expecting price to reverse, which shows reversals in the market. Now going scaling down further to the 4 hours time frame. Although I'm not a fan of chart patterns, but I use it as my confluence while trading too. Now you can spot your head and shoulder chart pattern. Whenever you see your inverse head and shoulder chart pattern, it just signals some reversals in the market. And it happens whenever you see it in a downtrend, shows you that we are about to see some bullish push to the upside. Now, if price actually respects this chart pattern, we are going to be seeing GBP by next week or so in this area. This is my target. So this is actually my target for GPJPY. Although we haven't seen some structural or change in state of delivery, but this conference has just shown me that we are kind of bullish on GPJPY. But actually last week, I think I entered this trade. I'm currently on this trade though. I'm currently on this trade and my SL is here. My targets for next week will be around this zone. So this is my outlook on GPJPY. If you have your own view on GPJPY, you can drop it on the comment section too. Now let's go over to GBP and see what it has for us. Going to the weekly time frame, you can see that it's actually resting in a solid weekly key level. Now marking my recent leg of action, you have your weekly break of structure, and you can see that this is a high, low, high, and price is now in a weekly demand to buy. This is your weekly outlook. Now, your weekly target should be around this zone, which you'll be expecting price to tap into. That's your buy side liquidity. Now, since price has tapped into this region, all you have to do is scale down to the lower time frame to see the price action or the structural formations in the lower time frame. Now, going to the daily time frame, you can see that price actually refining my order here, refining this block. You can see that price, this is a break of structure. This is a break of structure. Price came into this key level, although we haven't seen any form of confirmation around this area, but this is what I'll be expecting price. If price should actually give us, if GPUSD should actually give us a change in state of delivery around this area here, I'll be comfortable to take this trade to the upside to buy GPUSD to this zone to keep buying till it takes out this high. So this is what I'll be looking out for in GBP for this new week. So if you also have your own thoughts on GPUSD, drop it on the comment section. Your own views and ideas are welcomed. Now let's scale down to the 4 hours time frame. You can see no change in state of delivery yet, but from what I'm seeing, this is your morning star, 4 hour morning star candle here. It is visible. This is your morning star. This is your morning star candle. So this can be an additional confluence, by the way, but I need to see my structural formation, my structural change state of delivery first before I can start entering this. Although I entered aggressively in this trade, for risk entry traders, their entries will be at this. This is where I placed my entry, and my stop loss is below the invalidation zone. I hope you guys know what I mean by invalidation zone. This is my invalidation zone. So I'm expecting price to start buying from this zone to this stop. This is my view on JPUSD. Now let's go over to gold. Gold has been very having kind of corny last week. Was like created the kind of resistance around this zone. Gold created resistance around this zone. Yeah. Since then I've been waiting for it to show me what I didn't trade good last week, but I think I will this week if it gives me a valid trading setup. Now coming from the weekly time frame, we all know that gold started buying from this zone. We had some FVG from an FVG around this zone. And now all we can see in gold is that it closed bullish after sweeping this low and closed to the upside and closed above it. This see price reacting from an order block or a PDRA around this area here, a point of interest around this zone. Now, our first target should be after price has taken out the primary drawn liquidity, the secondary drawn liquidity will be my next target on good. Now, it's either we see price buy, keep buying, and take out this drawn liquidity. After it takes out drawn liquidity, it keeps buying, or we expect price once it's open, it sells a little, then keep buying to the upside. But for now, I doubt gold will actually sell to the downside. Actually doubt gold will actually sell to, because sometimes once gold open on Mondays, it just keeps buying. It barely gives opportunities to rejoin the market. That's one bad habit gold has. All I'll be interested in is in this candle range here. I'm interested in this candle range. Let's see what price is actually giving us here. Well, actually, I don't see much here. All I can see is this key level, this area here. If each I doubt gold will actually sell into to buy. So, but if this happens, I will comfortably take this trade to the upside. That is going with gold. Now I'm expecting price to buy to sell into this zone or and start buying, or either ways gold might just open and keep buying, keep buying. That's just it with one thing with gold. But if gold decides to sell into this zone and buy, then I'll take it. Well, if it actually decides to keep buying, keep buying, keep buying, then we wait patiently and wait for our trading setup maybe to take out this high. The actual target of gold is to take out this high. So you just have to keep monitoring gold and always wait patiently for your setup before you can enter. Don't just enter blindly or just enter with hopes. Always have some reasons to enter why you are entering a trade. So this is actually my weekly outlook for some these pairs that I've dished out here. If you have your own idea or your own view of the market, it is actually welcomed. Thank you for staying with us thus far, and do well to subscribe, like, and also turn on your post notifications so that whenever I drop some insightful videos like this, you get notified. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.